The Boston Celtics take a 1-0 series lead over the Orlando Magic, winning game one not easily because that first half was pretty rough, and I thought that it laid out a pretty good blueprint for how the Orlando Magic could win games in this series. They played excellent defense. It was a low-scoring first half. It was very physical. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner looked great together on the floor, and they did a really good job of running the offense when they were by themselves as well. Paolo Banchero, especially, he had a game high 36 points. He had 19 of those points in the first half. He had his first three threes, and he just looked really, really good. And then Franz Wagner, his running mate, looked good too. He had 15 points in that first half. Thought he did a really good job of getting to his spots and knocking down shots. I don't want to see him take another three until he fixes that hitch in his jumper. But, man, in the mid-range and in the painted area, I mean, he finishes as well as just about anyone else in the league. So they got off to really good starts. The defense was there. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he hit a couple threes, and, that was really, really helpful. And that is what the Magic have to have happen. They have to have a role player hit just a couple of shots, and they need for Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner to outplay Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, because that's what they did in the first half. They were both better than those two guys for, half the game. Jayson Tatum, he figured it out really late. But if it's not for Derrick White, then this game goes very differently. I mean, Derrick White was their leading scorer at half. He, shot the crap out of the ball. 7 of 12 from three on the game. He finished with the game high, or with the Celtics high of 30 points. He really kept them in it in that first half and gave them a chance to win in the second. I'm talking about Boston and Derrick White there. But for the Magic, they've got to find a third source of offense, a role player to knock down some threes, because Paolo Banchero had 36. Kind of hard to ask him to do much more than that. So, they need a little extra offensive punch, but we knew that coming into the series. That's kind of been their issue all year. For Boston, they owned the second half. Once again, the fact they were only down one going into the break with how poorly Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum played is kind of surprising that they were only down by one. Once again, shout out to Derrick White, who helped lead the charge in that third quarter. Both he and Jrue Holiday, making the switch of putting Jrue Holiday on Paolo Banchero, I thought was brilliant. They're going to go back to that at some point because Jrue Holiday had more success guarding Paolo than anyone else did. Jrue Holiday also hitting three big-time threes in that third quarter. And, Derrick White just continued to be Derrick White, and that's play great defense and knock down open shots. That's what he's done. That's what he's done really ever since he showed up in Boston. He led the way for them tonight, 30 points, 7 of 12 from three. And during the game, Richard Jefferson made a really good point. I think it's something that everyone knows. The reason why the Boston Celtics are the favorite team to come out of the Eastern Conference, according to sports books everywhere, is not because of the three guy combination of Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, those are three excellent players, but it's players 4, 5, 6, and 7 that really put them over the top. And Derrick White, Jrue Holiday, Al Horford, and Payton Pritchard. I thought all four of those guys were excellent tonight. I already hit on the Derrick White stuff. Jrue Holiday, his defense on Paolo, hitting those 3 threes in the third quarter, and just seeming to make every play that he needed to. Defensively was big for them. Al Horford only scored 5 points, but same thing for him. He was always where he was supposed to be on the defensive side of the ball. Contested shots at the rim, played really good defense. And then Payton Pritchard off the bench, he had 19 points. He had a nice little cameo to open the second or third quarter. I don't remember which, but he knocked down a couple threes. He was 4 from 6 from 3 on the game. And depth is really important, especially this year in the playoffs, because the Cavaliers are deep and the Pacers are deep, and you go out west and the Thunder are really deep, and the Timberwolves, they've got some depth. But the Boston Celtics have the best role players. They do. They have the best role players in the league in Derrick White and Jrue Holiday. And that is such an incredible advantage because it allows for Jayson Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown to have bad nights. Jayson Tatum was 8 of 22 from the floor. At one, he was 6 of 20, before he hit, his last 2 shots when the game was already over. Jaylen Brown was average tonight. He had 14 points, shot 6 of 14 from the floor. Kristaps Porzingis, he didn't score. He had 5 points on 1 of 8 shooting. Most teams, when your top 3 players play that bad, you lose by 30. That's usually what happens. Unless you're Memphis, then you lose by 51. That's just the reality of the situation in Memphis. But when you're Boston, you have Derrick White and Jrue Holiday and Payton Pritchard, who can kind of carry the scoring load. And Boston's also a great defensive team. And look, they're playing a team in Orlando that's not great either. Like, obviously, when they play against, whoever they wind up playing against in the second round, whether it's the Knicks or the Pistons, like, they're going to have to get more production out of Porzingis and Tatum. But first round, playing against Orlando, who struggles to score, you can get away with your 3 best players not playing well when you have the level of role players that the Boston Celtics do. So Paolo was great, 36 points. I thought Franz Wagner played pretty well outside of the third quarter where he only scored 4 points. He's got to be better there. But I think that the Magic have a blueprint to win some games in this series. And the Boston Celtics are very thankful for those awesome role players right now. So still like Boston. I think everyone likes Boston in this series. And the game today was just further proof of why you should have taken the Boston Celtics to win the series. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to check it out. If you enjoyed it, I've got game 1 reactions up for every game 1 that has happened so far. I'll have another one up after Cleveland and Miami, and then I'll have one up late tonight as well after Golden State and Houston. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch the video. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you after Cleveland and Miami.